Hi guys, Brain here, and welcome to another commentary video. Today, I'm going to be talking to you about will the split pressure meta ever actually return? Because it's something that was really prominent that M1 killers, which are some of the weakest killers in the game, used to really rely upon to be able to win matches, and it kind of went by the wayside for a lot of reasons. And it's something that I feel like kind of resulted almost in the 6.1 change of just kind of buffing killer across the board, because the weakest killers in the game really were struggling with chase because they didn't have built-in chase mechanics for the most part. So chases became really brutal for them, especially after stuff like the pallet validation, old perks like Dead Hard. Like, it really made that brutal, but at least you could, split your pressure. But a lot of things led to that going away and kind of really nuked those characters in a lot of ways. Like playing M1 killers in 2022, even after the 6.1 change, can still be incredibly brutal. So will we ever bring back the split pressure meta, and what is going to be necessary to do that? Let's go ahead and talk about it. So first off, if you don't know what I'm talking about with like the split pressure, like as a definition, split pressuring in Dead by Daylight is where instead of like hard committing to individual chases, you instead focus on trying to get most of the team injured. There are some characters kits who do this naturally, like Legion and Plague. They do this naturally. Essentially, they took the idea of split pressure as like a play style and just kind of like baked it into a character with like Legion and Plague by letting their powers do it naturally. But it used to be a skill that like every player that was an M1 gamer used to primarily rely upon, which was like, this is most famously seen with like Wraith, for example, especially after his Windstorm update where he has that base kit Windstorm, is he would hit somebody, leave him injured, go somewhere else, find another person, injure them, go find somebody else, injure them, and then essentially it's trying to cycle the team into essentially being one shot most of the time. Even if you can only get like 3 members on the team to play like consistently injured, that kind of puts them in a situation where they're essentially like one shot for the entire match, which is really good. It's really good for you because, like I said, as an M1 killer without an anti-chase ability, you are going to be struggling to chase more than the average killer does. Imagine, say, like a Wesker playing a chase versus, say, like a Clown, right? Like Clown has his bottles that will slow them down, but obviously put 2 and 2 together, the Wesker is going to be way better at ending that chase quickly than, say, a Clown is, because Clown's bottles, even though they do slow, they can still like pre-throw pallets, and essentially they have to be a little bit more wasteful, but you can still play against a Clown pretty safely, whereas Wesker can obviously like lunge at you and hit you before you even reach the pallet. Right? So one of the ways the killers made up for this kind of like lack of chase that a lot of the older and M1 killers in the game have is by splitting their pressure, by making everybody essentially one shot, by keeping everybody injured and making everything super dangerous so chases could end quicker. But like I said, this went by the wayside. Over time in the past couple of years, there's been a lot of things in the game that kind of like pushed split pressuring as a playstyle just out of the game. And you rarely see people do it anymore, and often when you do see people do it, it doesn't work to a very effective extent, and it's because of one of 2 main things, and I'm going to go over those right now. So the first thing being Circle of Healing. Circle of Healing was the main thing that stopped it, but one thing that's always been in the game that has also stopped this and kind of come into popularity is Medkits. So let's go ahead and talk about those. So Circle of Healing, when it came on the scene, when Michaela dropped, was a very controversial perk. It was one of the most used perks in the game for a little bit there, because now if you Circle of Healing in its current form, it's very slow, so at least there's kind of some sort of trade-off to that. But Circle of Healing used to be way quicker and way stronger. So there was a lot of situations where like it didn't matter what happened, the team would just stay healed up, and especially this accounts for splitting injuries, because like if you split injuries, they just run over to where the Boon Circle of Healing is and start doing the thing on the side of their body, and then they're just healed up in like 2 seconds. Now of course the perk has received nerfs over time, but fundamentally the effect is still the same, which is kind of that independence to self-heal by yourself, which is a really strong power in Dead by Daylight, because typically you need 2 people to heal, and that is a time waster. Remember, time in DBD, you know the rest. Time in DBD is gen time. Time in DBD is gen time. So by forcing 2 players essentially to be kind of, not on a gen at the same time, by, forcing them to heal each other, that's really good. That's why split pressure is effective. It's because, you can play injured, but you're one shot, so you better be careful. But if you want to get rid of that, you have to occupy 2 people's time who should be on gens to heal up and get back in the game, which is a time waster, which buys you more time to have chases and all that wonderful stuff. But with circular healing, you can just do that by yourself. I mean, in its current form, you can just go heal by yourself, and that's literally only one person occupied on the team that is currently not on a gen. So the other three can theoretically still be, doing gens the whole time. So the split pressure meta kind of got really nuked by Circle of Healing. And Circle of Healing, despite its nerf, still really is a very common perk that you see in games. It has a lot to do with the fact also that it gives a lot of blood points. There's also that aspect. There's not a whole lot. Like, they got rid of, like, We're Gonna Live Forever on the Survivor side, which is the main, like, blood point earning perk for them, because like, you used to get stacks with it. The stacks would reward you with blood points. Now you got to run stuff like Prove Thyself and Circle of Healing, which give you a lot of blood points for running them. So these are pretty common perks that you see. So you're not going to be able to really enact split pressure just as a play style when people can just go heal up by themselves independently without the help of another person. And also, like I said, this concept has been in the game for a long time, in the form of medkits. Medkits have always, I don't get why people like I get that toolboxes are like the cheesiest meta. They're definitely the cheesiest meta. They're the lame meta. I feel like toolboxes are the lame meta. Like like in terms of items, toolboxes are the lame ones. They're stupid, they're dumb. I don't know why they're in the game, but they're at the end of the day, they're cheesy. The thing that's like super strong, the thing that's actually like kind of probably actually needs a nerf, besides BNP. I think BNP needs to be destroyed. But the thing that actually needs nerf, like, and if an item that actually needs some changes to be more fair, it's got to be medkits, or at least the healing speed that medkits have, because like we were saying with circular healing, the ability to just kind of like go from injured back to healthy completely by yourself without any help from anybody is a very, very, very strong effect. Very, very strong effect. And medkits have been able to grant this to you, with limited resources, able to grant this to you this is how medkits have been. Like, medkits have always been this way. So if you get like a lobby full of medkits, your split meta pressure just kind of like goes out the door. Like, you can't play split pressure as a play style when there's medkits in the lobby, because they just heal up. And I've realized this too, because like I've realized that sometimes I do play split pressure and I'm not even thinking about it. Maybe it's just like, instinct from when it, like, pre-circular healing, when it was good. But I'll hit somebody and I'll look down and I'll see the medkit in their head, and I'm just like, oh man, that was a waste of time. And I feel like that's like really like dissociatively strange, right? Like why did I get a successful hit on a survivor, and for some reason I feel like I made a wrong play? The whole point of playing killer is to hit and down the survivors. But in situations where, like, I'll hit a person that has a med kit, and for some reason I can't chase them, say they're near a main building that's really strong, they're next to a tile loop that's really strong, like, I look at that and I go, that was a waste of time to hit that person. I don't feel like I should be saying that. I don't feel like I should be being punished for doing my job. It feels strange. It feels weird. Like I said, when it comes down to medkits, it's more often like the healing speed that kind of usually comes into effect and a factor. Like, obviously people can, stack sutures and heal super quickly, or they can stack a bunch of charges and just like have like tons and tons and tons of heals in one go. And, obviously there's built to last with that if you really want to be cheesy about it. So there's a lot of ways that this can become out of hand very quickly when it comes to just being able to be self-sufficient and independent with those medkits. So that obviously makes it really, really impossible to, do the split pressure playstyle where you're injuring individual people. Obviously, they're just going to heal up right away in like 2 seconds, which is really frustrating. So if you want split pressure as like a playstyle to return to the game, which I feel like it needs to, because a lot of the base kit 6.10 changes really, really wonderful, really, really great. I've told you guys that before. I think they did a really good job, at least on the killer side, when it comes to the base kit changes that they made to killer. But I still feel like a lot of the reason that M1 killers still don't perform very well and still kind of suck in this game is because one of their biggest play styles is not good anymore. And honestly, it needs to come back to benefit those killers, because honestly, like I said before, players like Wesker, like characters like Wesker, they're hitting you anyway, right? They're having super efficient chases no matter what, because they have powers to circumvent loops. But M1 killers that don't have that ability to circumvent loops, they need something. They need something that helps them shorten those chases. Something that, and like, split pressure playstyle can be done wrong. Trust me, I've done it wrong a lot. I've done it wrong a lot, especially when I was learning the game. So the split pressure playstyle, like, also requires a lot of thought and mastering to do it correctly. So it's not even like you're just handing them something to have them win matches for free. Like, they need, like, this is a play style that you got to do right, or else you're just wasting a bunch of time. So yeah, I feel like that we need to bring down Circle of Healing, bring down Medkits. That way we can reintroduce the split pressure playstyle, because man, there are certain characters in this game that are really suffering without it, and it's kind of lame. So yeah, what do you guys think? Do you think the split pressure meta will ever return? Let me know down in the comments below. But other than that, thank you so much for watching, but I do upload daily, so we'll see you tomorrow, friends. But if I don't, well, I'll see you when I see you. Goodbye.